Good morning, one and all.
Good morning.
Welcome to the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist in Newburyport, Massachusetts. I'm Ray Wilson, and I have the privilege of serving as your worship associate this morning. If you are visiting us today or joining us for the first time, a special welcome to you. We're glad you're here. If you're joining us online, you will find a link to the order of service in your reminder email or just below the live stream window. Before we move into our worship today, I need to remind everyone that next Sunday, the 13th, is our monthly Justice Sunday. This month will focus on our Afghan refugee guests currently living in the parish hall and possible solutions for long-term housing. Everyone is invited to join us after the service next Sunday for soup and salad downstairs, after which we will come to the sanctuary for the 1-hour program. I, for one, am particularly glad to be the worship associate on New Member Sunday. This event always reminds me of the time I joined this church 22 years ago. For every one of you signing the book this morning, I wish that you will find here a spiritual home which will enrich your life for many years to come. Once again, welcome, one and all. It's good to be together.
It is indeed good to be together. It's a beautiful day, an unusually beautiful day, a remarkably beautiful day. It's a week coming with mixed emotions and high emotions, I think, for many, if not all of us. I needed all of you to be here. And I hope that each and every one of you needs each other too, for we belong to one another. It is so good to see you. Our call to worship this morning are the words of Universalist Judith Sargent Murray. She was an early American advocate for women's rights, an essay writer, a playwright, a poet, a letter writer, and the wife of John Murray, who was one of the founders of Universalism in the United States. And she wrote many years ago, "Were I to personify justice, instead of presenting her blind, I would denominate her the goddess of fire, of unbending integrity. Justice should feel, hear, and see, but truth alone should be the polar star by which she should shape her movements, and equity only should constrain her determinations." Yeah, those Universalist women. I'd actually like to invite everyone to turn to your neighbor this morning and greet them with a bow, with a smile, with warm eyes or a handshake, offering extensions of peace. You are indeed joyfully called to worship.
I'm honored to be here today on National Saxophone Day. I'll try not to mess that up.
Please join me in the chalice lighting words which are in your bulletin. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest, truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Each week, we also light 2 candles of peace, representing 2 places on earth that we lift up and remember as a sacred encounter with our world. We know that there are untold numbers of places on earth that need peace. These 2 we especially hold close in this service and through the week ahead. After each candle is lit, I will say, "To this we respond," inviting you to join together in saying, "Peace, Sol, Shalom." Our first candle this morning is lit for the United States of America and for Election Day that is coming this week. I invite us to take a moment and to find within ourselves that place that calls us to who we are in our best selves. May these United States be a place of justice, of equity, of peace, of safety for all beings. To this we respond, peace, Sol, Shalom. And this morning I'll do something a little different with our second candle and invite you to take a moment and think of the place that calls to you in this world, a place that needs peace, a place that is dear, important, special, or perhaps of greatest concern. For all these places on earth that deserve and need peace, we respond, peace, Sol, Shalom. Please rise in body or spirit. Let's join together on our opening hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit. Please remain standing and let's join our voices in our affirmation of faith and doxology. Again, the words are in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Please be seated. There are many, many beautiful things about our faith tradition. Don't get me started. One of them, however, is that people choose to belong in their time, at their pace, in their way. And they choose to belong for who they are, not because we tell them they need to be anything different, but because instead we say, welcome. We say we celebrate you. We say we need you. Come, let us be changed by what you bring us. It is the membership. I saw that coming. It is the membership body of this congregation and all Unitarian Universalist congregations that makes the church who we are. So, one of my very favorite services, and I know for many of you, those of you who are members, you may want to reinforce within your own heart your commitment here. Those of you who are guests, welcome. For we need this church to go beyond these walls. Those of you who have been coming a long time and are not yet ready or may never be, you too belong here. I would like to ask all of those who are choosing to become members this morning to come forward to the chancel. Many of you have let us know in advance, and if you haven't and are so moved, you are also welcome. But if you could please come forward to the chancel. Plenty of room. You will find in your order of service our covenant that we say each and every time to reconfirm our own promises and to welcome those who have chosen to be with us and among us. So to the newest members of this congregation, I ask, do you, the newest members of this congregation, promise to bring your whole self to this congregation, including your beauty, your gifts and talents, your pains, and the parts of you that are in need of healing, so that we may grow stronger together as a congregation and a church and more whole in our shared humanity?
I do.
Do you bring a commitment to the principles of Unitarian Universalism?
I do.
Do you bring a commitment to community?
I do.
Do you bring a commitment to love?
We do.
Members, would you please rise in body or in spirit? And online, you are with us as well. Members of the First Religious Society, do you welcome these, our newest members, into our church community, covenanting to walk together with them in your shared spiritual and life journey? We do. Do you promise to be open to what they bring to this beloved community? We do. Will you seek to be in right relationship with them and all who may follow them through these doors? We do. And to our children and youth, do you welcome these new members to our community? Will you share your gifts, love, and light with them? And will you get to know their gifts and love and light? And if others who have not yet stood, please rise and body your spirit. And to everyone who is gathered here this morning, online and in person, we also have a new member. Liz is online, by the way. Hi, from Shelter Rock. She's joining, had been a member here in the 1990s and found her way back during COVID and an ability to participate online. And you are just as much a part of our community. To all of us who are gathered here in all ways, are you open to the possibilities that love brings? Please join me now in greeting our newest members with the words and celebration. We welcome you, our new members, and celebrate our beloved community. Let's do as we do each time, welcoming them with hymn number 311, Let It Be a Dance.
Sure.
Please be seated. Thank you for your generosity in the offering, and just to remember that half of the collection today goes to benefit Habitat for Humanity, an organization we've partnered with for some number of years at this time. Each Sunday, we pause in our service to lift up the joys and the sorrows of our beloved faith community. Nancy Kidd, our pastoral care associate this morning, will light candles as I read the joys and sorrows which you have shared with me in advance of today's service. If you would like to share a joy or a sorrow, you can email it to betweenus@frsuu.org, and we also have our journal that's out in the vestibule, which you could write in before you come into the service. This morning we light a candle of joy and celebration as Anne and Forrest Speck share with us from New Orleans. They are there celebrating the marriage of their son John to Ariel Adelstein. It is quite a New Orleans celebration, I'm told, including a second-line march on Royal Street with real New Orleans jazz. But we have Danny Harrington with us today, so I don't know. We have another wonderful celebration to light a candle for this morning in honor of our own Barbara Owen, who was the music director here for decades. She has just published her most recent book and is being honored by the Boston chapter of the American Guild of Organists next Saturday from 10 to noon. They are celebrating this book and all of the knowledge that she has in this incredible and important field of which she is a legend. Barbara, we light it for you. And we light one final candle, as we do each Sunday, for all of the sorrows and all of the joys, which, though unspoken, are held in just as much love and care. I invite you to join me in a spirit of prayer, meditation, Centering. In a prayer for our world. When in our wild world, the dreams of our ancestors are cut off, and the worst fears of everyone begin to take hold, may we pause, remember, breathe. We are one, despite anything or anyone that tells us otherwise. One people, one humankind, kin to other creatures, stewards of the earth and her gifts, beholden to our values and truth as our guide. We work for justice, in peace and harmony with all, as much as possible. We seek not to destroy, but to build up the goodness everywhere in this world, and uphold the truth indeed will set us free from bondage of practice and beliefs that imbalance power and integrity. We continue to show up for what we believe and to be with one another, hand in hand, heart by heart, mind by mind, to restore the dignity envisioned by our ancestors of liberty for all, to honor the beauty written by musicians and poets alike, so that our path follows truth and our footsteps harm none, singing peace within and between us all. Young and old alike, we walk together, hand in hand, forever believing, forever making our way home. Amen.
Thank you, choir. The reading for this morning is entitled, What We Love, We Empower, written by Patrick T. O'Neill. What we love, we empower. We can't claim to love justice as long as we are willing to tolerate oppression or racism. We can't claim to love peace unless somehow, in some way, we are seeking to make peace a reality in the world and in our personal lives. We work for what we love. We invest in what we love. We try to become worthy of that which we love and of the people we love. We give of our time, our energies, our attention, and our resources so that what we love might thrive. This principle applies to our church as well. Becoming a member is also about empowerment, though we don't always think of it that way. By joining a church, we declare that what the church stands for, the principle it teaches, the works it engages, the community it strives to become are all things we hold close to our hearts. By being members, we commit to empower this little institution. And we have a right to expect that this church will empower us in return. It will call us to higher ground, to greater love, greater compassion, greater caring for the world and its troubles, for those suffering in their pains, for the deprived in their needs. It will empower us by calling us to live out our ideals and our principles in everyday life, in everyday relationships. It will empower our children too. If we have them, it will teach them tolerance and respect for the good and the holy. It will teach them self-love and love for others. It will provide safety and encouragement and community in times of celebration and of loss. This is our greatest covenant and compact as members of the church. This is what we are here to do and to be for one another. By what we do here, by what we contribute each in our own way here, by the people we become here, by the ideals and the visions that we embrace and follow, by the families that we help to shape here in this church, we increase the store of love and justice in this world.
I just want to remind us all as I begin to offer my reflection that whatever you're feeling today and in this time, whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're feeling, you're fearing, we've been here before. Each and every one of us in our own lives has experienced things we thought we couldn't survive, because that's part of being human. It is good and right that we come together. So may our hearts be lifted, may our minds be opened, may our spirits be both charged and tempered, and may we be the people that we long to be in this world. I'll start with a very, very brief story, a true story that happened last Tuesday. I was talking to a friend face to face outside on an autumn day, a little cooler than today. And she was sharing with me the struggles that she was having or is having with her teenager. Her heart was breaking for this child, for their siblings, and for her parents who lived with them, all of whom were helplessly watching the daily chaos. And all of a sudden, she sort of stamped her foot in the leaves and she looked right at me and she said, knowing who I am and what I do, she said, "Give us something to live for." And she looked at me and she said, she doesn't see a reason to live. None of them do, these teens you see. What are the messages they're getting? I mean, look around us, she said. Look at all that's happening in the world, and even more so, how we are responding to it. What messages are we giving our kids? What are we telling them about the future, their future? What do they have to look forward to? And right then and there, my heart broke open to this realization that the bemoaning, these dire predictions, our hands in the air about the conditions in our country or about climate change, you fill in the blanks, are not helping our kids have hope. Sometimes I believe it isn't necessarily helping me or the adults that I love and care about either. And it certainly does not mean that I think we should bury our heads in the sand, or turn the other way, or not be engaged, or not be enraged, or not be afraid. As I say time and time again, we are called to stretch ourselves to be people of and. People wise enough and flexible enough and spiritual enough to know that there is good and there are hardships. that there are dangers and there are things to celebrate, and that our kids need us to offer them hope. They need us to show them that the world's been here before. It's going to find its way. It brings me back to our decision earlier this year to rebalance our worship services to focus on ritual, spiritual grounding, and to reinforce us as we engage in our work for justice through the rest of the week. I said then, and I'll say again, I said for years, many years, well, if things were the way I wanted them to be, we would all come together and worship on Sundays, and then we would all go out into the world and do whatever it is we're called to do. Care for our elders, raise our grandchildren, march in the streets, whatever it is we're called to do, whatever we are called to do for pay and for volunteering. But we would come together every Sunday to be reminded of who we are, of what we believe in, of the goodness in the world. And then I woke up and said, what am I waiting for? Why don't we start acting that way now? We are using this sacred space as a place and a time to come together each week, to offer each other ways to let go, to let down, to recenter, to grieve, while at the same time inviting each other to keep caring, to remember what we love, and to appreciate the beauty in this world. This year's ministry theme is peace. We spent last month looking at inner peace through things such as reviewing our lives and making amends, connecting with animals, remembering our loved ones after they die. There are many other things we could have focused on and will focus on in the months to come. This month's ministry theme is justice. Cornel West's famous words, right? Justice is what love looks like in public. Our Unitarian Universalist faith is deeply rooted in the intersection between faith and service. Each week we join our voices and say, love is the doctrine of this church and service is its prayer. I know what those words mean to many of you. I know what they mean to me. They are a true and resounding testament to our faith tradition. And service is how we treat one another. Service is the email I received this morning that brought me to tears because someone took a moment to send me a note of thanks. Service is housing our guests. Service is choosing times in your life to visit an elderly neighbor or choosing a career where you're paid to do this work. It is endless. It is how we spend our days. Love is the doctrine of this church, imperfect and humanly flawed love that reaches out and crosses over fear and division and limitations. It is a love that is ever evolving and divinely inspired. Thank God. It is a love that gives us a place to laugh, to cry, to rage, to hear one another's stories. It is a love that allows us to learn to value our differences and disagree with respect and open-mindedness. It is a love that reminds us to stop, to notice what is beautiful, and to say thank you. It is a love that has us know that we are not alone. Service is our prayer. Service that looks like coming to church week after week, greeting each other with a smile, engaging where we can because we are a part of what makes this place whole. Service that writes a note, offers a ride, picks up the phone to call someone just to say, "Hello, I'm thinking of you." Service that houses Afghan refugees, collects food for those experiencing food insecurity. Service that leads us out of our comfort zone and into new and deeper understanding of what it means to be human. Unitarian Universalism is a faith that is focused on these days of our lives, less so the afterlife. It is a faith that seeks to learn from history, to uphold traditions that are worthy of upholding, and also to change and to grow with the times as we learn. We are a church congregation made up of theological diversity, individuals seeking together, each on our own path, yet equally part of this community. Unitarian Universalism is a faith that is young in many ways and also steeped in history. Some of us were here yesterday listening to an author celebrate the history of some Unitarian women from the turn of the 19th century, and it was remarkable. Here in this beloved sanctuary, we have nearly 300 years of history in the port of Newberry. When I was planning this service and thinking ahead to the coming days with Election Day and all that may bring, I knew I wanted to offer you something that you could hold and make your own. I didn't just want words. We have so many of those, and there are absolutely times and places for them. I also didn't want to offer false hope or cliches, because we're beyond that. I wanted something that embodied our congregation and our commitment to love and to justice, our exploration of peace and welcome to our newest members. I wanted to remind you that we are not alone, and to give you something to take with you as a reminder of that truth in the days to come. I also knew I needed to be realistic and reasonable about what these things were I was going to give you. So the thing that called me was our chalice. It is a simple but powerful vessel with a strong story of love and service that is behind it. The Unitarian Universalist chalice comes from the times of World War II. It was originally created by the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee as a stamp, literally a stamp, that was put on the outside envelope of documents that were being created for the UU Service Committee, whose members were helping Jewish children cross borders into safety. And they felt that having this stamp would lend it legitimacy. Love is a doctrine of this church. Service is its prayer. It grew from this flat stamp to a three-dimensional holder of the flame through our children. It was children in their religious education classes who maybe 10 or 12 years later came up with an actual three-dimensional vessel that held this flame. And it was the 1980s, very recently, when it began to be used in Unitarian Universalist worship services across the country. And today there's nary a church that doesn't have a chalice. Our church is very widely, as some of you know, based upon geographic location, customs of the congregation and the minister. However, all of us share the chalice. All of us light the flame. We have lit a chalice in our home for decades. And we have several. We have some that have been handmade by our children when they were young, others that have been gifted to us for services that we've offered, or others we've bought for ourselves. We light our chalice to bless each other and our food. We light them to celebrate and to add light to a dark room on a winter day. I also light them when I need to pause. When Trayvon Martin was killed, when George Floyd was murdered, I stop and light my chalice and sit. I light them when I need to center myself, regain composure, choose carefully the words I want to say and the actions I want to take. In other words, I light our chalice in love and in service. It is my prayer. I hope you've heard that our beloved sanctuary will be open all day on Tuesday, Election Day, from 9 to 6. The chalice will be lit. Everyone is invited to come at any time. Just sit. Perhaps find the ground or feel the peace. Remember those who are here today. Gain perspective. You may come and you may be the only person in this sanctuary, which is sacred. Or there may be others here. We're also holding a gathering Friday, Veterans Day, from 5:30 to 6:30, when Alan Seal and I will lead a brief service, including having time for folks to share what is on your mind and heart. One of the most beautiful things about our chalice is that they do not have a standard way of looking. Just like our members, they are diverse. They can be homemade from natural things you find outside, or quite elaborate, made of bronze or silver. So what I've brought today, and would invite all of you to take on your way out the door, are just simple tea light candles. All the same, all held, all with a wick to be a flame. Love is the doctrine of this church. Service is its prayer. You may take one of these tea lights and keep it just as it is, simple, austere, ready to be lit. You might place it in a holder, a shell, a favorite saucer of your grandmother's, whatever suits your fancy. Whatever you choose, may we remember each other as we light our candles this week. Look around you. May we remember these people, this space. May we remember what we believe in and who we are called to be by ourselves and together. May we remember peace. And may we pray for and act for peace in big and small ways. Until we meet again. Amen. So my friends, we're going to join in a beautiful hymn together. That is, it is hymn number 1014 in the Teal hymnal, and we are replacing the words with answering the call of love instead of standing on the side of love. We are answering the call of love. And then we're going to do our unison benediction a little different today, which I'll talk you through again, but to give you a sort of a heads up, I'm going to have everyone, you'll be standing from the hymn, turn, the two sides of the congregation turn and face one another, and we're going to read to each other our unison benediction. The words are in your order of service. Let us begin now by rising in body or spirit and joining our voices in answering the call of love.
To keep up time bound, corrupted willing to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love, and joined together with hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. A breakthrough day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love, and joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
So, yes, right? Let's remain standing, and again, if each side of the congregation could face the other, just turn and face the other side of those who are gathered here, and I invite you to truly take this in and to look at one another, see one another. My friends, this is who you are. This is where you belong. This is a faith that answers the call of love. Our unison benediction this morning is different. It's in your order of service. And what will happen is I'll start on this over here. We'll read the first one, and the other side will respond. We are connected, and then read your line, and we'll respond. We are connected, and read our line. Despite distance and fear,
We are connected. Despite loneliness and change,
we are connected across different experiences and lives.
we are connected. Even in the face of the inevitable losses of life,
We are connected. When we wish to laugh,
we are connected. When we need to mourn,
we are connected. Across a nation divided,
we are connected. Even when we dance alone in a room,
we are connected. In the heat of the sun,
we are connected. In the glow of the stars,
we are connected. Across the limits of our imagination,
even when nature trembles, we
are connected. My friends, as we go from this place this morning, may we go inspired. May we go willing to be changed. May we go remembering that we are the agents of peace, that how we spend each and every minute of our lives matters, that when we speak for justice, that when we act for truth, that we take a step forward into something that feels uncomfortable, when we say, I love you, instead of I'm angry, when we choose love, and when we act in service, may we know that we are doing the most important things that we can do. Go in peace, my friends. Return again in great joy. Amen, and blessed be.